All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Anohana, episode 2.
Okay. Menma is dead.
Yeah.
Jinta can see her.
Yeah, we have ourselves a show in which we have to deal with a person who has an extra sensory perception regarding a person that they can see, hear, interact with, but
no one else can.
No one else can.
Yep.
However, we have seen that Menma can influence the physical world in ways that are noticeable. We saw Anaru with her shoulders getting heavy.
Yep. We
saw at Menma's house that she bumped over some stuff.
Right.
So, this is more of a thing of where she is a, not really a haunting, but more of like a lingering spirit where she's not able to move on.
Right.
For whatever reason.
And apparently she has some wish that needs to be fulfilled, but she has no idea what it is.
Yeah, and we have to understand maybe a little bit more circumstances surrounding her death, and also maybe have our characters come to terms with her death in a way that will make them be able to move on.
Right. Gang needs to get back together.
Yep. Let's get the Goonies in this in the squad again. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. That's actually kind of cool.
What?
Because that's the past, you know?
Right.
You could see the purple hue around their characters' outlines, you know, right there. And it's like they're the ghosts, you know?
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Yep, I love that.
Yeah. And they each have the memories of that time. And that shot right there where she has the bars there, so it's like she's caged in her, you know, her memories of the past, you know?
Sure. Yeah, in a lot of ways, they're all being haunted.
Yep. You know what would be cool?
What?
If by them all getting back together, they'd be able to see her, like, one last time as a ghost.
That would be nice.
That would be really cool. It's a hyper-idealized dream.
それって蘇りみたいじゃん。あ？すげえよ。メンマが願い叶えてもらうために帰ってくるなんて。
Just instantly believes.
Yep, exactly.
メンマ、俺だ。ここか。この中が俺には見えない。だからあくまで俺の。やっぱ実態強えよ。え？
Yeah, changing the subject. Here we go. Oh, he's visiting. Whoa. Oh, that's where he's been. Whoa.
Yeah.
Dog's looking right at her. Oh. Wait, should dogs be eating yogurt?
Sure, it's probably fine.
Yeah. Ugh, shut up. Tsuruko, tell him. Yeah, she was right there all along.
Didn't even grab her notebook, she just wanted to get away that fast.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, whoa. Jeez. Whoa, jeez. Okay, she's got all kinds of feelings she's got stuffed up in there. Holy crap. Showing things maybe from her perspective.
私があんな風にけしかけなかったら。
Gotcha.
Guilt to go around.
そしたらあんな風に。
Okay, okay. Wow. Oh.
どこに帰ればいいんだろう。
何かお探しですか？
はあ？のけもんのどれですか？パール？エラルド？はあ？のけもん金？
そういやビルビルダーだなんだって言ってたな。
It's hilarious how they're having to dance around the actual names and stuff.
何してんだよ。
宿美さ。
This guy's just been chilling there this whole time, like,
Yeah.
Can I go next?
Right. I just want to buy my stuff.
Yeah, you guys are like exes or something, but like you know, maybe like do this, you know, off
Somewhere else.
Yeah, somewhere else.
When you're not working.
Right.
今日はね、現場からちょっと素敵なお皿が出たから、焼肉ディナーだよ。悪い、食欲ない。
This is the idiot dad that he mentioned in episode 1. Jeez. Oh man. And you can tell he's trying.
He's trying to reach out and you know.
Thankfully his son's in a decent place right now. But
right.
I can already feel the divide, like ugh. She catches a bunch for him, and he's like, "Wait, what the hell?
How did this happen?"
All right, this is Yokiatsu or Yukiatsu. Yeah.
Listening to podcasts or something while I run.
Right, but then his brain goes to
久川
Menma.
昔みたいにポッポでいいって。宿美はメンマのことをなんて。そう、ジンタン。久々に会ったけどさ。
Not answering the question.
Yeah.
宿美はメンマのことをなんて。メンマがなんかお願い叶えてくれって。
Oh boy.
Yep. That's right, I forgot about this. How could you take a bath?
Right, right.
なんかね、体洗うのスースーするのしかなかったの。
もう少し成長した自分を意識して。いや、一部はそこまで成長してなさそうだが。
一部？
なんか見たことあるような少年。どうも。お久しぶりっす。わあ。もしかしてポッポくん？じゃあおじさんお仕事行ってくる。
Oh, you didn't get to eat it with him.
Wait. She ate a piece when no one was looking.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did she actually just eat a piece?
だろだろ。すごいなポッポ。どうして思い出したんだ？俺も現地を見ちゃってさ。
Saw some voices.
現地は見るもんじゃないぞ。
Yeah.
自分の癖っ気やメガネが大嫌いで、サラサラの髪のメンマが、ジンタンに好かれるメンマが。一個アナルにもあげる。メンマが大好きなのに。
And she pulled it off.
大嫌いで。
So many unresolved emotions.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
私までのけもん？ありえないんですけど。
いや、いい
She's
じゃん
removed
た
the
まには。
glasses now.
童心に戻って
Yeah.
さ。
Yeah.
ジンタン。
ゆうべなる子が作ったゼリー食べる？
うっひょー、アナルのゼリー。
その呼び方やめて。
とにかくレアのケモンはメンマのお願いなんだぜ。
バカそう言うなって。
メンマ？
Cool, cool.
のけもんは。
どうしてこっち来ないんだ？
だってメンマがいるとママもアナルも悲しい気持ちになっちゃう。
Wow, there's so many. That's awesome.
でもこんなちっちゃいソフトに名前ってお前ほんと几帳面だったもんな。
うるさい。
Oh. It's close, but it's not exactly the same thing. But look, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
フィールドにポイザンはいないの。ホイットから進化させなくっちゃ。ちょっと貸して。やっぱアナル変わってないよ。優しくてゲームとか漫画とかいっぱい持ってて。
Oh boy. Oh boy. Yep. Yep. I was gonna say something, but I'm saving it for the discussion. Oh boy.
できたポイザン。や
ったー、ジンだ。
イエーイ。
Oh. Oh, that's what she wanted way back then. Yeah.
And he's not
協
calling her
力
by
し
her
た見返り
nickname.
ってあ
Mm-hmm.
んの？
金が。
違う。学校来なよ。
Oh, cool, cool. Yeah. I just sensed character development. What?
Yeah.
Just make sure you ask her first if you can, you know, hook up.
God.
No.
You got the friendship king.
のけもん。
やっただねー。
Oh.
どうしたの？
よかったな。これでメンバーも喜ぶな。
We're halfway there. We got 3 out of the 6. Yeah.
ジンタン、アナルとポッポとまた仲良しになったし。
Yeah.
完全に人事だよな。お前。危ないぞ。
What?
まあ最近は楽しいことばっか。
お前まさか。
ですよ。
寒い。
ま
まだ消えようとしないけど。明日があるなら謝るのはゆっくりでもいいかって。
Oh, okay. All right. Nice. All right, all right. Good stuff. Yeah, what I was gonna say about Yukiatsu is that it's actually one really long love chain. Like the whole thing. Tsuruko kind of liked Yukiatsu, but he's a baka. Yukiatsu liked Menma. Menma was one that, you know, I would say in some ways we don't know if she actually really liked anyone, but Jinta liked Menma.
And she
And then-
might have liked him.
Might have liked him, but then Anaru liked Jinta, and then Popo also in some ways kind of liked Jinta. He's just like,
Popo
yeah,
liked Popo.
Popo likes Oppa, you know. Like. Okay,
Alright.
this show's
Episode
really
2.
good.
Yeah,
This show's
isn't it
really
isn't
good.
it wonderful?
Yeah.
Like,
I think what it is it's just tight. It's
mhm.
quick.
Yep.
It hits you with like the really good feels, like right at the points where they really want you to. It does a really good job with the music and the character animation to set that stuff up. And then the characters characters feel super realized really quickly. I really like that none of them feel like overt tropes. Like,
Right.
Also, there are definite tropes within them to get certain things across rather quickly. But you know, like I really appreciate that they feel like grown-up kids. Like
right.
they're
and
still
that's the
kids,
thing.
but
They
they're
are still kids.
They're still kids, but they're
Right.
just, you know, a little bit more grown up. Like,
yeah, and that whole thing.
Perfect.
I'm really glad you brought up the whole thing with the tropes, because I feel like with this show, it, you know, you could take every character of the main cast and tie them to a trope.
Oh yeah,
but the thing is,
very
because
much
they're
so.
a more subdued version of that trope,
Yep.
it feels very much like they're real people.
Yeah, it feels much more natural.
Right. And given that a lot of the trope stuff that they have is one part of their personality, but it's also something that is then brought into the limelight more by the fact that they're still dealing with Menma's death.
Yeah.
Then it just makes that much more sense. Like, because
Right.
for short shows, one of the things that is really tough for me whenever I get into short shows is that I want to see all that emotional vulnerability from the characters.
Right.
But real people don't like being emotionally vulnerable.
Right.
So how do you come up with some extenuating circumstance in order to force them to be vulnerable, whether it's
Right.
with themselves or with other people or whatever, so that we can see that and start to really care about them in a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And this show, I feel like it just does it so well, because something as traumatic as a childhood friend dying
Really
right?
young. Oh my
and
god.
and
Like, that's,
yeah, like that'll mess you up inside.
that'll
Two,
mess you up inside. Yeah.
these kids clearly haven't dealt with it.
No.
They have
No.
they have survived, they have done things to sort of, keep going as best they can.
Yep.
But there's a whole lot under the surface that they haven't dealt with. And
Yeah, we're only in episode 2, and we're already seeing incredibly painful things that they're each kind of using as coping mechanisms, I
Right.
would say. And I really like that the characters are already showing chinks in their armor, so to
Mhm.
speak. I would say especially what we got with Suruko or Surumi, which is
Mhm.
probably the more formal.
I think Surumi is the nickname, I want to say.
Okay, gotcha.
It might be Sudoku.
If anything, the way she kind of chased after him was like, Surumi-san, it seemed like she was more like, I need to be respectful because
sure.
she's,
That might have been what it was. Yeah.
she's in a better school and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
She was gonna
Yeah,
go
Surumi-san. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
and-
because it's Sudoku and then Surumi-san. So yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And-
Yeah, and then what we get here in this initial conversation. Let's first actually talk about Popo real quick, because
Yes.
Popo gets formally introduced here
Mhm.
as what kind of person he is. So what I like about Popo is he's the one that has moved on the most. But in order to do that, he probably had to literally leave.
Yeah.
And I think what's really cool about this is you could look at him and go, wow, this guy's a practical sage. He's figured out everything. He's probably totally in balance. But then you look at some of the things that the way he talks, the way he interacted with Yukiyatsu, for instance, you can see that, no, he's just got a really good, probably the healthiest coping mechanism of all of them.
And that's probably because he addressed it in a very direct way.
Very direct way.
I'm going to travel.
I'm going to go other places.
Right. And that whole balance thing that you mentioned, I love that because him going to other places, that could be seen as a healthy thing. It could also be seen as sort of a running away kind of a thing, right? Which is, and that's a pretty extreme version of it, right? In a concrete way. But then at the same time, he always comes back to the hideout, right? Yeah. So whether that's because there's something nostalgic, or there's some part of him that hasn't been able to let go and fully move on, or
it's
whether it's
or something,
right, or whether it's actually as a way of remembering where he came from, who knows? But there's a whole lot there that, and the whole thing of him immediately believing Jinta, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, he always looked up to Jinta, so it makes sense that, that he'd be like, oh, really? But then what if they're there was always this thing that I got the feeling of, what if that was forced?
Sure.
Because he did the most extreme thing of running away to other countries potentially in order to get away from it. So now that it's like, will I have to deal with this? Yeah, I'll run towards it. That'll make it better.
Well, also when Yukiyatsu then asks him, what did Jinta say about Menma? He doesn't answer the question initially first, where it's like, he doesn't like going into the details of it. He's like, I just love that I get to be with my friends.
Exactly.
And I would accept whatever they'd say in order to maybe spend some time with them. So in some ways, he takes the path of least resistance.
Sure.
Maybe. So in that respect, running away is the same thing as just kind of accepting, like, my friend might be a little crazy, but it's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
Because maybe I really missed my friends in the fact that I was, that I chose to run away, but I wouldn't have necessarily wanted to run away from them, but I wanted to run away from the situation and
I'll bet you, if anything, he's going to be one of the last people we get that extra perspective on the past for. I'll bet you anything, because of the way we got Anaru's perspective on the past thing, and yet he seems to be the one that was already kind of on board with this whole thing, means that his is being saved for later. So I almost want to throw out there the idea that no, he's the one that's actually probably hurting the most in some way, not the most in terms of comparison, but just in terms of where we would expect him to be hurting, because he went elsewhere, which I would say is probably the most extreme of the responses. Now, there's no telling what timeline we're operating on here, so it could have been years,
right? But
from when she died to when she ended up,
right, yes,
till when he ended up traveling.
Yeah. But he is high school aged, and he has already gone to quite a few places,
right? And that was something that I thought was rather cool. It was the places that he ended up going to were varied, varied and many.
Oh yeah.
He went to Mexico. Looks like he went to San Diego or LA. He went to Southeast Asia. He went all across India. Like, he went to Indonesia. Went to New Guinea. There, it looks like.
Yeah, he's been
China.
He's been around. Like,
yeah, he went to
just
Russia.
Counting those
even.
Up, that's 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 places.
Yeah. It's like
20 places.
It's like a bug when I've talked with people that are they specifically grabbed a job to be a flight attendant so that they could go to a ton of places and stuff. Right. It was because they were addicted to traveling, and they're like, hey, my job now pays me to go places. And
in his case, it's I come back and, work and get money so I can travel again. And it's like, there you go. But still 20 places, and like that's a lot in not a lot of time. Yeah. And like the whole thing of him having an extreme response like this with so you had a theory of it being very much like a love chain, within all the different characters. Yeah. And but the one and after I mention this, I want you to go through so they can pick up on that. But Popo, you didn't have anything like that for Popo.
Well, no. Popo's was Jinta, if anything.
Oh, sure.
He really cared about Jinta. Like that was something where even if it wasn't necessarily romantic or anything, Jinta was shown to be like
the person he
constantly was facing in that regard there. So, that's probably where his portion of the chain link was, so to speak. And I wanted to put the chain there, not as a thing of like, they're chained and tied up, but it's the idea of they're linked together in the past, but over the course of time, they let themselves get unlinked, and now, Menma wants them to kind of get back together, probably.
And what you were figuring it was that.
Well, we already got that in the post thing.
Oh, okay.
You want me to repeat it again?
Okay, no, that's fine. I forgot whether it was in the in-between part or in the actual.
I can do it again, but the thing is that the main two people it centers around are Jinta and Menma.
Right.
So Menma is liked by Jinta and Yukiyatsu. Jinta is liked by Anaru and I guess in this case Popo for instance there. Then we have Suruko, and Suruko is the one where there's a couple places you could take this. One, she didn't like how the girls were talking about how Jinta is probably having erotic fantasies about you right now, Anaru.
Sure.
So she leaves. So that could be that she doesn't like people disrespecting Jinta, so that she had at some point maybe a crush on Jinta. But I'd like to go the other route and say what it is it's that she doesn't like to hear these kinds of stupid, childish kind of interactions.
Okay.
Because that also maybe on some level just reminds her that she's better than that. She's better than that. So the childish interactions that she had with her 5 friends in the past are something that she's trying to move on from. And yet she is in kind of maybe a relationship with Yukiyatsu. Maybe. Or they like to just walking home together or something. There's something there. But the fact that then when Yukiyatsu is shown again, he is huffing a skirt of Menma's, at least that's implied.
It definitely looks
similar. exactly the same. And I would believe that if we wanted to go really in depth here in a way that might be almost a bit too dark, Menma's not actually wearing her skirt. Like, she's a ghost.
Right.
So that means her real skirt is out there somewhere.
Although it probably would have been given to the family.
No, I know. But then what was that he was huffing? Just an identical skirt?
That is a good question.
Like this is something that is more common, I would say, in certain families other than others. But I never had identical clothes of the same thing. Like, I never had tons of clothes in general. It was more like, I'm the oldest, so I'd end up just getting a couple things here and there. But mostly just thrift shop stuff
Sure.
and what have you, but
Uh-huh.
never like, okay, this is the outfit that you wear. We'll get 6 pairs of this
Right.
outfit.
But if you wanted to get multiple pairs of the same outfit, you probably could. Like,
right, but I never did.
right.
As a kid, I never had like the same clothes. But yes, she could have. So I'm not going into
I'm not saying that I think Menma had multiple outfits of the same clothes.
I'm just bringing up the idea that we have a death that is mysterious in terms of the circumstances, other than she probably drowned. That's the main thing I'd say we can determine from that, because her little sandal
shoe was in the water. Right. And it was implied that she must have fallen, because that was what triggered Jinta and made him freak out.
That's something that makes sense. Yeah, for sure. But I don't even know how he would know that if we don't know who was nearby when she died, if anyone.
Well, I'll just say this is not a murder mystery. Like,
oh, okay.
You know, so don't worry about that. Like,
No. I wasn't meaning that. I was just wanting to know: are there people that could have saved her?
That's
an entirely different.
That is
thing.
an excellent question.
Right, which is why I'm wondering: why does he have Menma's skirt? Why does he have it at all?
Well,
like, it's not like he goes and like grabs it like after she's passed or something like that. So in this case, it's a, okay, buddy, yeah, we're gonna need to get you into some therapy because oh crap, this is not good.
Yep.
Like there's one level where it's like, she's gone, dude. Like, she's gone. Like, you need to be present here. And given that he seems the most cold and detached of them all, like, means that he's probably got the most anger associated with regards to the way things happen, just in general.
He definitely did seem to vent that in his conversations with the others, especially Jinta.
Yep.
And, you know, and he goes on the morning runs with the podcast, like, you know, like he
could just be a dedicated individual to his health and stuff, though.
Yeah, that is definitely a thing. Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. But the idea that him and Tsuruko are potentially in some kind of a relationship where he can't help but accidentally show aspects of himself that hasn't moved on from Menma's death. That's why Tsuruko is like, you're hopeless just like Yukiyatsu. Is that he's probably been a little bit vulnerable with her, even if it was accidental.
Sure, at the very least they go to the same school and, you know, walk home together and things like that. So it's and they spend a lot of time together. Right,
and if they have any other aspects of their relationship in general, she knows things about that
right. They're the two that of all the friends, they're the two that didn't split as a result of as a result of Menma's death.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's its own thing as well. But oh boy. Then we get this little subplot of him going and grabbing some, you know, Nokimon. Yes. And it being something that they all used to do together. It's like, oh, that's sweet.
The shot of them all with their little game.
With their little game pads.
That was so adorable.
Oh my gosh. And then the fact that you can then trade and stuff, and then it's wonderful. And I wish I was, you know, when I was younger, I was one of those people that, you know, played Pokemon and stuff like that, but I didn't ever have a console or anything, or a gamepad, whether those were expensive. But like, just
and then Jinta's dad, like,
Jinta's dad
to do little things, because it's like he can't. He, you know, either he's tried to bring it up and Jinta didn't want to talk about it, or he doesn't feel comfortable bringing up, hey, maybe we should talk about the fact that one of your friends died when you were very young, and you haven't really dealt with that, you know. But he's trying to do all these things to sort of be supportive and, you know, give his son a good, positive environment to deal with stuff.
My heart goes out to parents like this, where you can see that they're doing things that they think will help, and they're trying to set up situations to where they can then be with their kids,
right?
But the kids just don't see it. It's invisible to them, and thus when we see him being like, I got some pretty good stuff today, so we're having grilled beef for dinner, I'm like, oh, I remember moments where like when I was going through puberty and stuff, and we had just moved and things like that, and I was super depressed and what have you. One of my favorite breakfasts was blueberry pancakes. And I remember at multiple times I would get upset because, and this is just moody teenager stuff, but I would get upset because my mom could tell that I wasn't doing well. So she made blueberry pancakes. And of course I was so selfish that I was like, you think blueberry pancakes are just going to make me just all happy or whatever? And then I would go and eat the blueberry pancakes and be like, these are really good. And I'd be like, thanks, Mom. And, you know, and she would try to do the thing where she'd be like, oh, I'm going to like sit kind of closer, you know, and then just be like, making any new friends, you know? And like,
Right. Like, you know, do you want to talk about anything?
Do you want to talk about anything? And I'm like, no. But it's just like, oh, it's these little things that, you know, it's just love. It's love. It's trying. And then, you know, on a positive note, he's on a mission. He's got a thing that he's going to do. And he's like, I'm excited about this Nokomon thing. So in that respect, it's not that he's ignoring his dad because stupid dad or whatever. It's, no, I've got a thing. But then his dad is going to feel like, okay, next time. And then when he comes back, not when he comes back, when Popo comes
Shows
over,
up.
you see he's like, wow, this is some really good stuff. And he's appreciating. And he's like, yeah, it's leftovers from last night. I got to go to work. All right, see ya. It's one of those things of like, the thing that I probably spent a good amount of money on this and was trying to,
connect with my son.
But, at least it gets eaten by,
it gets appreciated.
It gets appreciated. And and it's not like, it's not like I need that. It's just, I'm just trying to give something. And
I love
gets me.
I love the just sort of thing that is sort of slipped in of like, oh yeah, he's probably a single dad.
Oh, he's definitely a single dad. Yeah.
And
at this case, you can definitely tell. Yeah.
The whole thing with the sticker, like that was
the
one
sticker
of those,
was really really smart.
It's one of those little things that mean so much. Where it's like, because these characters are still kids, right? They're growing up and everything, but they're still kids.
Yeah.
And it's those little things that they realize that because there's so much just this torrent of feelings around the whole topic and guilt and everything, with like Anaru being like, what if like Jinta, had the whole thing of if I hadn't said that, right? That was the last time I saw her. What if I hadn't said that, right? Am I responsible?
And then
Anaru's like,
if I hadn't
asked it like that, right? And then the whole thing of peeling off the sticker, right? When Menmo was trying to be friendly, and then later
we find out that she taped it back on.
Like that little things like that, and then Tsuruko with the whole thing of like when she's talking to Anaru and like a whole lot of feelings are coming up on the subject, and it's like, whoa, you seemed like the more sort of reserved, cool, level-headed type person.
Oh, are we talking about that now? I wanted to bring up the sticker thing, but I want to go back to that eventually.
Go
but the
for it.
Sticker thing, what I really like is that when you look at this initially, there's half of a story being shown with the stickers being on for Menma. Menma doesn't know why it's taped on there. Initially, I think if you look at this, you go, oh, she maybe was wanting to cover it up. Like, you can tell that the tape, eventually kind of lightened out and stuff like that. But, or maybe it was like, oh, maybe it was falling apart. She wanted to protect it. But it's like, no, she took it off at one point, and then she put it back on. Because it wouldn't stick on anymore.
Right, exactly.
The tape was needed there.
Yeah.
But, like, this is just something...
Being held together with tape. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Not at all a metaphor for characters.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. That was what I was going to say. Yes. I'm like, this is something where you're like, oh boy, that hurts. Then you realize that they end up recreating 50%, or with Menma there, 2/3 of the scene from their past, childhood and stuff. And even though, Popo's reading Bobobo or whatever,
right.
It's still a wholesome recreation of it. And you can feel when Menma's like, I feel warm. I feel like, this is like a really good feeling here and experiencing this, and then the tears start to well up, but it's not exactly it. It's not exactly it, because it's not them together as a group, as a whole, but it's also something where you can tell that there's still that little bit of awkwardness between even the ones that are here.
Sure.
So when you see Anaru and Jinta actually like cheering for each other and they got this thing
high-fiving
and that's when it's happening. It's good. This is the right track here. And it's only episode 2, so we're like, okay, we've got a lot that we can do.
I know, right? Like
so go for it.
Well, just one of the things that I love about this show is that, like, when I would think about like a stereotypical plot for an anime that's trying to like get you to really feel things and cry and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Have a character die at the end, you know. Have it be the cute girl that dies at the very end, right? And, you know, break our hearts, right?
Yeah.
No. That's just the premise of this story. Right. And it's all the, what do you do after that? You know, right? And it's...
There was another show that ended a while ago, and now...
Yeah, exactly.
We're in the sequel.
Yeah.
Good luck.
And none of them know what they're doing, but they're on this healing journey, and you can see it happen. And because of that, like, each episode for me, like, and I don't have a perfect recollection of how all these episodes go, but on the episode by episode, on the one hand, there's a part where I could see it being like, oh, this is kind of slow. When are they going to get to the main thing that happens?
I think this is ridiculously fast.
But no, it's ridiculously fast, right?
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that this is only an 11-episode series and the amount of emotions they're teased at just in this one episode this early. And there's already this logic to it that you can see to why they do the things that they do, right?
Yeah.
Why Yukiatsu is so angry. Why Tsuruko is also angry, and Anaru is, you know, like all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that Tsuruko got especially mad on behalf of Jinta, like, is that because she just can't stand to have, you know, people be talked bad about? Or is it because she remembers, yeah, you liked Jinta, you know, and now you're letting these people talk bad about him? Really? You know?
Yeah.
Like, are you that duplicitous? You know? Like, just so much stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta say, one of my favorite things this episode, as far as like a little subtle thing, is everything that went on with Anaru and Tsuruko. So
the conversation is so good.
Anaru was talking with her friends about how she went to go see Jinta. And they gave this like his formal last
that
name
shut in?
That shut in. And she's like, I mean, I feel like that too sometimes. And it was one of those like moments where...
A lot, maybe.
Yeah. Where when you do that, what you're doing is you're testing your friends to see if I was honest and told you how bad I was having it and how little I wanted to go out. And I kind of wanted to be a shut-in and just, you know, play video games and stuff like that and not go out in this, you know, world of lights and everyone pretending like they're happy,
needing to adult and stuff.
Just pretending in general is probably so stressful for her. And then they're like, yeah, but I just wouldn't associate with them. And it's like with they were talking about with Jinta, but what she's getting there is, oh, you wouldn't associate with me.
Okay, so I can't
share that with you.
Right,
exactly.
Then
then when this whole thing is going on there and it keeps escalating, Tsuruko basically does the equivalent of, and I'm not gonna be within proximity of this level of just I'm gonna just leave. I'm so upset about it I forget my notebook. Don't even care about it at that point.
And then she says, oh, you should next time just leave it. I don't want to be caught with someone from that high school.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like, I'm going to the good high school, thank you very much.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah. Then this is the part where Tsuruko's, I would say, see, everyone has their lack of acceptance regarding a certain thing. And Tsuruko's is, I'd say, a little bit more subtle. And I want to go on a little bit of a limb here with something that she said that is quite telling, or it's just a mistaken translation or something like that. But she basically equates that Anaru is acting slutty just by being associated with those people, which is like, oh my gosh, okay, wow, geez. But then she goes, you've always been easily influenced by those around you. And then she starts going on this you kind of thing. You look just like the slutty girls you're with. You were always copying Hanma Meiko before. She's on a roll with these you statements, which is, after a while, once someone starts making enough you statements like this, that you start to go, whoa, wait a minute. You think about this that often? Like you've concluded judgments on this about someone else so certainly.
Right.
Maybe this is more of your problem. She says, you were always copying Honma Meiko before, which I buy that. I totally buy that.
Because she liked Jinta. And
Anaru also responds in a way being like, yeah, that's actually right. But then she says, don't talk about the dead girl like it's nothing. Then, this is the part that, like, makes me, like, go, wait a minute, what? She brushes her hair to be like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't mean anything to me. And says, you bring it up yourself and then get all hurt about it. And then I'm like, whoa, Suruko, hold on. You brought up Menma. What? Wait, what? And this is something that I rarely see in anime, because if they're actually doing this is amazing.
Right, and it's tough to call it out because
it's tough to call it out because you don't know. But I would say that what's tricky about this is that anime doesn't usually have characters make dialogue, say things that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Meaning that the dialogue has to be there in order to service the plot and not to tell anything about the characters. Meaning that a character can't make a mistake in their dialogue.
And if they do, then usually it's because it will then get called on by the other people around.
Almost immediately. But in this case, they're so like
emotionally distraught,
emotionally like frustrated at this point here that neither of them, I think, even noticed it.
Right.
But we're the audience. We get the time to go, wait a minute, hold on.
Go back through very carefully. Did Anaru ever actually mention Memna?
Nope. No. So Suruko, you really like make a big deal about how your armor is is diamond and unbreakable.
Right.
But you just you said something.
right,
like,
exactly. Well,
and I don't know. I just think that the following up with so many you statements and then ending it with "you're absolutely hopeless," which is such an absolute statement. But then she goes, just like Yukiyatsu, which is like she's so distraught apparently that she can't even keep up her you tirade. She has, or she is, but she has to then she accidentally with her buckshot fires off to the left and hits Yukiyatsu.
Right.
And then Inaru's like, wait,
what?
What does Yukiyatsu have to do with this?
Exactly.
This is I just love that. I love this whole scene.
Because for someone as reserved as Suruko, right? Because we can already tell that just even this, far into it. And again, getting characters to be emotionally vulnerable when being emotionally vulnerable is something that most people just don't want to do in general. And if they're a reserved character, then there's even less likelihood that you'll get an excuse or a reason that'll be good enough to have it still be in character for them to have that kind of outburst. And then we have stuff like this where, okay, being upset at Anaru. We get that.
Totally get
that. That makes sense. It's straightforward. It follows from what happened before. Bringing up Menma and saying that she brought it up. No, you did that.
You did that.
Then bringing up Yukiyatsu. She didn't bring up Yukiyatsu. So Menma and Yukiyatsu, both of those things are things that are swirling around in her head a lot, and she has a lot of pent-up feelings about that only got shown once all of this other stuff happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And Yukiyatsu is huffing something that looks very much like Menma's skirt.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's anything there.
I wonder if there's something there.
I wonder if there's any insight we could garner about this not quite kudere character.
God. I love this show.
Yeah.
2 episodes
Isn't it wonderful?
It's got really well flawed, realized characters who have still like quite a bit that they can go into, not just for development's sake, but for the purpose of actually like getting to know their perspective regarding the past events. Which I really like that kind of story mechanism, like as a narrative tool to just showcase what things were being, focused on by each of them individually. Because from our perspective and the initial one in the first episode, I didn't really get anything from the other characters, but maybe I should go back and rewatch that one to see if they said anything initially.
Well, the devil's in the details. And
it's probably in like something as small as body language for some of them.
Oh yeah, well, like little
or
things
what they didn't do.
Or what they didn't do.
Like they did.
Well, like the way that, Anaru was like clenching her fists when she asked the question, you could tell that it was more like, even if you don't notice at the time, right? Then it goes back and you see, oh no, there was a lot more to that. Now, that doesn't necessarily have everything there, because they might have limited perspectives and also limited priorities of what's important, right?
True.
So when one of them remembers something, not everything might be included, you know. But
yeah,
but like,
and that's also good for efficiency's sake when you
Yes.
show the backstory, because you don't want it to be
have
you
this
don't want it to be
5-minute,
repetitive.
you know, repeated thing 20 times over a
Exactly.
11 episode series. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just
Yeah, great second episode.
Yep.
We got a little bit of focus on Inaru specifically, and then we got to show Popo and Jinta going around, kind of getting the ball rolling for bringing the gang back together.
right.
Awesome stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, teased a lot of things for the future episodes. So y'all, if you want to see next episode's reaction and discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and you can also talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
Yep. I wrote a sci-fi novel called Battle Lines. It's on Amazon. Go check it out. Link is in the description.
Yes, if any of that interests you, we'll see it there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.